Hi everyone, welcome to another weekend edition of 2 Drink Minimum. I'm here tonight finishing off a really lovely California Sauvignon Blanc, which may seem like an odd choice for a cold, dreary, icy, snowy, frankly horrific Saturday in January in Chicago, but there is a method to my madness today, and I'm excited to tell you about a really fun food pairing. But firstly, I want to talk about the winery I'm featuring, and that is a project out of California called the Fableist. This is a really fun marketing opportunity by some folks who designate each label based on a different Aesop's fable. And in case you're under 30 or never read a book, this dude wrote a lot of stories based around animals and insects and some great life's lessons. I do believe it was in the 600th or 700th century AD. But this one in particular is behind the farmer's sons, and the life lesson is that family is stronger as a whole than as its individuals. And that's a fun story, but also a really great wine. I'm very happy with this tonight, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The other bottle I have here to display is the Fableist Zinfandel, also from fruit along the central coast of California. We know Zin to be a great, full-bodied powerhouse, fruit-forward, spicy, fantastic winter wine. And this one's no exception. Really enjoy it. And this gross bug on the label is based on the fable of the scorpion and the frog, which, if you remember, is very sad, actually, as both parties die in the end. And the lesson, I do believe, is that we are all actually killers and full of poison, I think.
Fight every battle, everywhere, always, in your mind.
And you should never underestimate anyone, I think, is the lesson behind that one. But do look up all of Aesop's fables, because they're wonderful for children in particular, as I've demonstrated thus far. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you guys tonight about the Fableist wines is sometimes we buy wines for marketing. If you're walking through a store and there's not a specialist there to talk to you about the wines they like, or if you don't want to shop based on scores, based on price point, if you're in a shop and the label jumps out at you and appeals to you, buy the wine, okay? Somebody paid another person a lot of money to design that label to capture your attention. So reward that person by paying for the wine. Secondly, the lesson I want to teach you, my fable, is when you find one wine or two wines or maybe more made by the same people and you really like their style, buy more wines from them, okay? House style really preempts quality of vintage, preempts terroir, as I like to say. People who make great wines make them from all kinds of grapes from all over the world. So if you like Dave Finney, who started The Prisoner and has a whole bunch of other projects out there now, then buy all of Dave Finney's wines. If you like Joel Gott, buy all the wines that Joel Gott makes. If you like Charles Smith, whom I called, and I quote, douchebag, jerk winemaker a few episodes ago, then buy Charles Smith's wines. People who do good stuff do it across the board, and it's okay to have a label, winery, or winemaker following. It just is. Like, if you like LeBron James, you liked him when he played for Cleveland, you liked him when he went and took his talents to South Beach, you liked him when he went back to Cleveland, I guess, and won a couple championships, and now you think He's still super cool playing for the Lakers. I disagree with you, but it is what it is. Anyway, I like all the wines from the Fableist. The reason it caught my attention in the first place is their Cabernet, which has a disgusting grasshopper on it. And as I tell people frequently, I hate bugs, but I love the juice. Fableist, Central Coast, California. Delicious wines. Varietally typical, and by that I mean they taste like what they're supposed to taste like. And tonight, this Sauvignon Blanc is no exception. From California, Sauvignon Blanc is light and crisp and fresh, like we expect, but typically a little more tropical, less grapefruity and assertively citric as they are from New Zealand or France. This one has some notes of ripe melon, a little bit of peach, but still that classic lemony, fresh finish. And it was a really wonderful pairing for some great shrimp that I poached tonight, sous vide. Now, sous vide sounds really fancy. You'll see it on cooking shows. Gordon Ramsay will call you a donkey over it.
Donkey!
But in my house, we use this not so fancy ANOVA immersion circulator. I put it in a bath of water, shoved some stuff in a Ziploc bag, and an hour later, my shrimp came out delicious. ANOVA, super big fan. This one is, of course, thanks to Jeff, Bluetooth connected, so you can activate it and monitor it from anywhere in the world. Thank goodness. Me, I was just sitting on the couch watching a Game of Thrones marathon whilst my delicious shrimp cooked. Speaking of Game of Thrones, we're really looking forward to April 14th here. If Jeff were here, he'd tell you that winter is coming. This we're really happy with. The reason Sauvignon Blanc pairs so well with things like shrimp and shellfish is acidity plus acidity, right? And I love Sauvignon Blanc with shrimp of any kind. Mine I poached with cilantro, lime juice, a little jalapeno, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of olive oil just to add that kind of fatty component in. And we threw it, immersion circulator, 139 degrees for about 40 minutes, took it out of the bag. I served it with some fresh steamed white rice that I mixed with fresh cilantro, salt, and a little bit of lime juice. Drank the crap out of this Sauvignon Blanc and called it a night. I hope that you enjoy a pairing like that yourself. I hope you go back and read some of Aesop's fables. These are classics, you guys, but maybe vet them first before you read them to your children, because they're not always friendly. Sometimes those birds and animals and insects are really quite disrespectful and aggressive for today's youth. Speaking of youthful and aggressive, this has been 2 Drink Minimum. Cheers.